Okay, class. Hello. I hope everybody's having a great day.
Not everybody.
Not everybody.
I'm
Well, it'll keep going up. Right.
I'm not having a good day.
You're not?
I have yesterday because
I have it.
yesterday I had
focus on.
no. No, yesterday I had to be at my sister's dance competition until
Oh.
9 in the morning until
Oh.
4 o'clock.
My goodness. What a drag. All right, so last time, you all remember last time we talked about the Little Red Fort? We read the story, and we'll catch up to speed. So, y'all remember what happened in the Little Red Fort?
No.
Okay, so I'll recap it for you. All right, listen. Hey.
I'm from Charleston.
And, good dude. So, the thing is about Little Red Fort was little Ruby here had three older brothers, I should say, and they would not help her build her fort. So she went and she did things by herself or with the help of her parents or grandparents. She went through an order of operations. Do you all know what that means?
No.
That means what order, sequential order that we do things. So first she studied, she had her ideas in her head. That's brainstorming.
Planned it out.
Then she planned it out, she drew it. She did her measurements,
Probably.
right? And then she got her materials. You're right on spot with this. And then, so there she is drawing it out. And so she had some people that helped. She got her materials. And then she started putting it together, didn't she?
Then she started painting.
Right?
So easy. She started painting.
Remember all that?
No.
So that's the mind of a maker, right?
So easy.
As in our Makerspace over there that you've all been told about. So what we're going to do is we're going to start by watching this quick video. It's a book by Katie Howells called Be a Maker. This is
Katie Howells.
the author of the book. Yes.
Wait, didn't you say last week when we were here that we were going to go back there?
Well, that's what we're trying to get to. So I need everybody to listen, so that we know what we're gonna do, right? Because if you don't listen, you won't know. Did you have a question, ma'am?
Yeah. Are we gonna like?
Okay, that's okay. We'll come back to you. Yes, sir.
Are you gonna watch the Charlotte Steelers LA Galaxy game?
That's
Say that
not
one more time.
important right now.
All right, pay attention, guys in the back, or you're not going to be participating when it comes time to do your own making. So let's try this here. See if this works. That's okay.
Let's just say that no one gets.
Otherwise, do it this way.
Just say everybody meditates. Oh my god.
And then you can do slideshow up there.
Stop hurting me. You're not hurting me. All I'm doing is hitting your back. Quiet. It's on your shirt.
Written by Katie Howells, illustrated by Elizabeth Lakota.
Why does it never say authored by?
Ask yourself this question in the morning when you wake. In a world of possibilities, today, what will you make? Make a tower, make it tall. Make it balance, wobble, fall. Make a mess, or make instead. A universe inside your head. Make a rhythm, drum and pound. Ears make out another sound. Make a telescope from toys. See what's making all that noise. Make a blueprint, make some more. Cover desk and wall and floor. Make your way to play outside. Make a spaceship. Take a ride. Make a map to journey's end. On the way, you make a friend. Make a snack and make a spare. Make enough for both to share. Make a plan and make a sign. Have your neighbors make a line. Make a gift of what you made. Make a smile for lemonade. Make a pledge to help some more. Make a floor, a wall, a door. Make a difference, shine a light. Make your town a team tonight. Ask yourself this question as the sun begins to fade. In a day of making choices, are you proud of what you made?
Yeah.
What will you make? Thank you for joining Mrs. Lindsay for Be a Maker, written by Katie Howes. I can't wait to go on another book adventure.
Okay.
When I get home,
So, what?
Wait, no,
So what do they do in this? Right. This is.
oh man,
Go ahead.
they build a playground in their town.
Right. They thought about a lot of different ways to reimagine things. Right.
there was a boy and a girl kissing each other.
What? Are you crazy?
There's a boy and
I
a
need you
girl.
to focus in. Focus in. And pay attention. Okay. I know it's Monday. You had a great weekend. But now's the time to sit down, pay
I think
attention.
Monday actually. It's Monday today?
Feel like Garfield.
Oh, Monday.
All right, so
Wait.
they made a plan. They executed that plan,
I hate Monday.
right? So
I didn't even know.
little Ruby here,
It might not even.
I don't want to keep talking over y'all. Now that's enough, okay? I'm recording this right here to present to some other people. And they're not going to know what's going on with all of you talking. So here's the thing. Ruby used the skills of an engineer. Does anyone know what an engineer is? Go ahead.
It's where someone builds stuff.
Right. Everything that you see around you has been engineered, like the bridges that you cross,
And
spaceships,
and fixing
and cars, and planes.
the sky.
Yeah, it all took engineers, right? Different types of engineer. So we're gonna watch this quick video on what it is to be an engineer.
How do we get around from place to place without having to walk everywhere? How can we communicate with people who live far away? These were problems that people struggled with for a long time. Until recently, before there were things like cars and phones and computers. And you know who solved those problems? Engineers. But do you know what an engineer is?
Yes.
I know because
The short answer is that an engineer is someone who wants to know how and why things work. Now, I want to know how and why things work, but does that make me an engineer? Not quite. Besides being naturally curious, an engineer is a person who designs and builds things, like machines or systems or structures that help solve a specific problem. There's more than just one type of engineer, too. But no matter what type of engineer someone is, they have to ask themselves three very important questions when they're working. Number one, what is the problem that needs to be solved? And number two, who has the problem that needs to be solved? And most importantly, number three, why is this problem important to solve? Let's take a look at some examples. A really famous example of engineering is the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco, California. I mentioned that there are different kinds of engineers, and the civil engineer is someone who designs and constructs buildings, roads, and bridges. For the person who designed the Golden Gate Bridge, what was the problem that they needed to solve? People couldn't travel in or out of San Francisco, which is surrounded on most sides by water, without a boat. Who had the problem? Residents of San Francisco mostly, but really anybody traveling in the area. And why was the problem important to solve? Well, you didn't want a whole bunch of San Francisco residents trapped in San Francisco forever, even if it is a super cool city. Plus, you wanted people outside of San Francisco to be able to travel to the city easily if they needed to. So the Golden Gate Bridge was engineered as a solution to this problem. In addition to civil engineers, there are also mechanical, electrical, chemical, computer, nuclear, and software engineers, and the list goes on. Let's talk about what some of the other types of engineers do. First up, electrical engineers. Electrical engineers study electricity. They design electrical systems like circuits and computer chips. Think of an electrical object that you use pretty regularly. How about your microwave? What problem was the microwave a solution to? Cold food, right? You have an electrical engineer to thank for the ability to reheat that leftover pizza you just had for lunch. But while you might not have heard of Joseph Strauss or Percy Spencer, the engineers responsible for the Golden Gate Bridge and the microwave respectively, you've probably heard of Henry Ford. As in Ford cars? Henry Ford was a mechanical engineer, or someone working in the manufacturing industry, making mechanical things like tools, engines, and machines. Machines like cars. Ford didn't invent the automobile, but his Ford Motor Company made a lot of them. His Model T car was famous for being affordable for plenty of Americans. Ford saw that lots of people who wanted to drive cars just couldn't, because they couldn't afford the pricey vehicles that were for sale. So he engineered a cheaper model as a solution to this problem. His fellow engineers started to do the same, and now, well, cars are everywhere. Henry Ford's not the only big-name engineer. A famous engineer around today is Marissa Mayer. Mayer is the president of the internet company Yahoo, and is also a software engineer. Software engineers work on computers and other products that use software to write programs to make them faster and able to do more things. No matter what kind of engineer someone is, their job at its most basic level is problem solving. Each engineer just specializes in solving certain kinds of problems. While it might seem like there are too many types of engineers to keep track of, just wait 15 years, or 50, or 100, because we'll probably have a ton of different types to add to the list by then. Think about it. Over 100 years ago, we didn't have jobs in fields like aerospace engineering, where people design and construct planes and spacecraft. We didn't have planes like we do today, or need spaceships, so we didn't need people to engineer them. Who knows what machines or tools or everyday objects we'll have in the year 3015. Personally, I'm hoping for underwater cities. But whatever these things are, we'll need engineers to make them. So what do you say? Who wants to be an engineer?
That's really interesting, isn't it?
I have an idea.
So whatever problems arise, an engineer is there to help solve them, right? So Ruby's problem was she wanted to build something. She wanted a place to play and hang out. One moment, we got to get through this stuff, okay?
But I have a good idea. How did they build the Golden Gate Bridge if they didn't have scuba divers to put the rocks down?
You need to find a book, do your own research, right? You need to find a book on the Golden Gate Bridge. You need to do that research.
And how did they get the materials there?
I don't know. Maybe I need to do some research myself. So Ruby wanted to build a place to hang out and play and have a good clubhouse. She had a clubhouse or a fort, right? The place for her to go, and she wanted people to come with her, like her brothers, but they didn't want to help out, and so she built a fort. Does anyone know what a fort is? Okay, yes ma'am.
A fort is something that like you can go into and play in, and you can mostly design it any way you want.
A fort is short for fortification.
What?
It is a place where, in times of peace, the governing body, our government, for example, keeps order. There are different types of forts. There are star-shaped forts. Does anybody know the Great Wall of China, perhaps? That's a type of fortification. There's areas there that where troops would stay. There's also, have you ever heard of, have you ever seen, no, that's not a fort, that's a building. Anybody know what this shape is here? That's a pentagon. Does anybody know of a building perhaps named? Yes.
Houses?
The Pentagon is a building
That looks like a house.
in Washington, D.C. It is a type of fort. It is the headquarters of the military. There's also a place called Fort Knox. Has anyone heard of that?
Yeah.
You know what? All right, so Fort Knox is where the gold reserves for the United States is kept. right? So forts have a lot of different functions, but mainly it's to keep peace, keep order. We can watch this really briefly, hopefully. It's a really quick video on forts.
Wow.
Have you ever been to Golconda? It's a place or a fort in Hyderabad. Do you know what a fort is? Well, a fort was basically a structure which was very safe and secure and strong. And they were built in order to defend a place or people from attack from outside enemies. So a lot of thought went into building these huge and really strong, secure structures which we call forts. For instance, they actually had a curved part in the front of the building or in front of the fort wall, which is called the bastion. So the bastion was something that was used in order to keep the fort secure. Moreover, the bastion actually had holes in it, which allowed the soldiers on the inside of the fort to look out and to see any approaching enemies. So they actually knew even before the enemies had attacked or reached the fort that they were on their way to an attack, so they could prepare for enemy attacks. So what else do you think a fort would have? Well, for one, it had really high and thick walls, which could withstand attacks from enemies such as guns and cannons, etc. So it had to make sure that it was really thick so that it wouldn't break whenever the enemy attacked. Now, one more thing it had was a really huge gate, and that was to keep enemies outside the fort and not let them enter.
Right.
So forts had a lot of structures that were built or put into the fort structure.
So that's all I really wanted to show you, is that to kind of think about what goes into a fort and why, right? So yes.
Why did they put wooden gates on if they had fire?
Well, they might not have had any other materials, right? As we try different tactics and
They
different.
had iron.
Maybe not in all regions, you know. The world isn't like it is today, where we get everything is pretty much at our convenience and there's shipping. All right, so let's think about these terms here. Collaborate, protect, shelter, enclosure. Blank is a structure or home designed for protection. What do you think? What term goes there? Yes.
Stop yelling down there.
Wait, what was it?
A structure or home designed for protection. That would be protect, right?
Yeah.
An area that is sealed off with a barrier. What do you think?
Protect.
Collaborate, protect, shelter, or enclosure for this one?
Enclosure is the key.
Enclosure, correct.
What?
To keep safe from harm or injury.
Shelter.
Shelter. And to work together to solve a problem. That would be collaborate. Perfect, y'all. Perfect. All right, so this is some different types of forts that you can make at home if you wanted. And so then let's just move on. So the first part that we want to do is we want to design our fort, right? So I have some pencils.
Yes!
And I want you all right, so this first two aisles, if y'all will sit here up here.
Yes! Yes, Mr.
And I'm gonna give y'all a pencil, and I want you to kind of think about what kind of fort you wanted to draw. Or what
The first two I like
first two, yeah. Y'all just start lining up down there. Like, yeah, you can sit down. Y'all can go. Green can go, green can go. And orange. Well, we're gonna break up into some groups. Yes, go ahead. And they're okay.
Can we go?
Yeah. Y'all go ahead and find your seat, please. Just kind of together. All right, we don't ain't a lot of talking though, because this part is individual. Well, this part's individual, okay? We'll work together. So this is just an exercise. And, you know what? I think that's actually a good idea, guys. So, what we got? Can you five work together? All right. I'll give you a couple. But we're gonna do. You think that would be okay?
Wait, we're not playing. No. One, two, three, four, five.
Well, I probably want to keep it together.
I don't want to be in a party. Yeah, we get in two and three. Two in the one group will be three.
Right, so let's kind of get this in every year. You guys work together here. Okay. So
Kind of work together. So you got what you got in a fort. All right, and then when you work.
I'm gonna name my fort the structure.
And then So kind of think about it. Talk about what you think you want to put in a form.
Anyone?